Hey everybody, Rosematter here, and welcome to part 72 of my Umineko Let's Play. I am determined today to finish this chapter. I don't know how much is left, but I think we can do it. I think we can finish it today. So the last episode, quite a bit happened. We had the duel between Shannon and Cannon, and to be honest, I didn't know how it was going to go. I didn't think there was going to be an actual winner. I thought they were both maybe going to take themselves out and maybe Beato and Battler would be the last one standing by default, but no, Shannon was the winner, so Cannon seems to be gone. He's now a spirit, but now he is able to help Battler out to get him out of that room. So I'm guessing in the terms of this game that means that the impossible locked room was solved somehow. Now it's just a matter of figuring out, in the context of the human world, how that happened. And then we had the glorious entrance of Beato crashing the wedding and challenging Erika to a duel with something that a detective cannot resist, which is apparently a perfect locked room for her to solve. So we'll see how that goes. Like I said, today I'm hoping we are going to finish up this chapter of Umineko. So without further ado, I feel like there's going to be a lot to watch. So let's get into it and let's see how this chapter ends. In the cathedral, the goat attendees were all jostling around either side of the red carpet. On the red carpet, standing across from each other, were Beato and Erika. In their hands were the dueling pistols given to them by Zephyr and Furfuro.
フリントロック式ですか。また古風な。
気にするな。悪魔というのは様式美にこだわるものでな。
Its form was similar to an actual old-fashioned gun, but this was, of course, a demon's gun. This wasn't a gun that would propel a lead bullet with an explosion caused by gunpowder. Like the pistols used in the duels between Shannon and Cannon, whose bullets had contained a magic that would always kill, these pistols also had bullets that were not made of lead.
ベアト、心配の必要はないわよ。あっさり勝って、またリーアは悪態の日々だわ。
この勝負が終わりましたら、たまには有給を申請してみましょう。私、この戦いが終わったら、たまにはぶらりとカリブの方へ船旅にでも。
この勝負が終わったらはやめとけって。決闘前に演技でもないわ。
ベアト、緊張感を持ってヘラヘラ笑ってる場合じゃありません。なんでリーチがリラックスしててリーアが緊張してんのよ。もうせーの、ベアトリーチ様、しっかり。ベアトリーチ様に不利な一騎打ちだ。どうして？本来魔女は手数で勝負できる。ところがゲームが中断されたため、手持ちはバトラ様の客室の謎くらいしかないのよ。エリカはその謎だけ青きくさびでうがても、全ての謎を解明したことになってしまう。
I have faith. Maybe it's just because the Beato, she's putting on like the what's the word I'm thinking of? Like the errors of the old Beato being all like haughty and seeming like she's got control over everything even when she doesn't, but I have faith that they're going to be able to beat Erika. They beat Erika once, they can beat her again.
勝てるわよ、ベアトリーチェ様とバトラ様の我らが二人の主を。お呼びですか？ありがとう。珍しく勝ちも負けも五分五分だと思ってます。
Oh, look at Erika actually thanking Delanor instead of treating her like a little puppet.
だから先にお礼を言っときます。すべて職務です。感謝の必要はありません。あんたが前回のゲームの時、私がボロクソに負けたのにかばってくれた時嬉しかった。私生まれてから誰かにかばわれた。
Oh, come on. This feels like the end of the last chapter where like I actually felt a little sorry for Erika, the way that Bernkastel was treating her, having her like all her dreams just crushed, and now she's actually showing some gratitude. I'm just like, she's probably gonna get beat, but I'm still gonna be happy about it. But I guess I can feel a little bit bad for Erika.
我が主にさ、 私はかばわれたことがない。
Yeah, you gotta give Erika that she is tenacious. She got beat down once before, but she clawed her way back out again, and she succeeded again. But I feel like she's inevitably, Beato and Battler, like, they lost the battle, but they're gonna win the war.
私が主に与えられたのは暴かれた真実には暴き返すことで自分の痛みを打ち消すという。
I have a feeling like Erika and Delanora might both end up dying, and then they'll just, like, I don't know, be like, hey, thanks, even though it didn't go the way I wanted. Thank you for being there for me.
傷つけ合いの仕方だけでした。
傲慢をお許しください。私は守らねばと思いました。あなたがどんなか弱い真実で生き、それをよりもっともらしい虚実の横暴で虐げられてきたか察した時、あなたを守りたいと思いました。
ありがとう。短い間だったけど
Wow.
最高のパートナーでした。
Erika's being surprisingly gracious.
これからもです。
そうですね。
Maybe the way Erika's talking, it almost feels like she did say that there's a 50-50 chance, but I feel like deep down she might be like, I'm probably gonna lose.
あいつを倒したらあんたと一緒にこの島でいっぱいミステリーを作りましょう。そしてそれをあんたに出題していじめて遊ぶ。どうです？
気に入りました。あなたの挑戦楽しみにしています。
あ、嘘ごめん。今の撤回です。こういうの負けフラグ。
Right? Exactly. Exactly.
さあいいかい、二人の決闘者たち。
When the two demons clapped their hands, the duelists instantly returned to their bold, tense smiles.
魔法の銃に込める弾は鉛じゃないわ。
ミステリーとファンタジーのうがち合いは赤と青の真実を弾とするべきさ。
互いに真実がある限り弾は無限。
ただし一撃でも当たれば即死。両者覚悟はいいね。
当然。
無論。
栄光ある元老院の議員にして偉大なる絶対の魔女おいでませ。汝この決闘の立ち会い人となることを誓うか。
もちろんよ。誓うわ。
The crowd split, and Lambda Delta walked forward with Bernkastel by her side. She looked between the faces of the two duelists. Then she took out an envelope with the seal of the one-winged eagle and lifted it high.
ベアトリーチェより封書にて物語の修正書を受け取ったわ。審査の結果、内容は有効。ロジックエラーの回避を宣言するわ。チェーンロックはかかったまま。これまでの赤き真実に一切矛盾しない。
Alright, so now Erika has to figure out how that's possible, with human means. The many goat attendees knew the details of Battler's locked room. They realized how difficult it was, and, though fiery debates had swept across the crowd during the reception, no one had been able to find an answer, and now it was clear that Beatrice had already reached one.
よって本決闘は有効。決闘はたった1点。バトラの客室の密室をめぐって行われるわ。チェーンロックがかかった密室から後宮バトラは失踪した。これについてエリカは青き真実の争点を、ベアトリーチェは反論の赤き真実の争点を。決闘は決着がつくまで続けられるものとする。
上等だ。
上等です。オーケー。それではベアト、あなたが修正した新しい物語と謎をエリカに提示して。
密室のいとこ部屋よりカノンは魔法にて封印を破らずに脱出。密室に至り魔法にてバトラを密室の外へ脱出させた。 くだらない物語。
結構エリカ側確認は？
副賞要求。バトラを救出したのは間違いなくカノン本人である。
受けようぞ。バトラーを救出したのは
Okay.
間違いなくカノン本人である。
副賞要求。バトラとカノンは別人である。
受けようぞ。バトラとカノンは別人である。
結構です。
エリカ確認は以
Yeah,
上？
that's it. That's all she needs. Okay.
今ので結構です。戦い方は決まりましたね。
All right. I'm excited to see how Erika's gonna come at this riddle.
オッケー。両者は弾丸を装填なさい。
Erika turned around, pressed her finger against the barrel of the pistol, made her blue truth into a bullet, and pushed it in. There was no real saying she had to turn away, but she didn't want her expression to be read. Or it might have been because she couldn't stand the tension of looking at Beato's bold smile. Beato had already finished loading her red truth. She waited for Erika to finish while calmly puffing on her pipe. Then she looked at Battler, who sat on the throne of the Territory Lord, right next to the two witches who sat as witnesses to this duel. Battler's consciousness was still hazy. However, he apparently understood that Beato had come to duel for his sake, so he could be saved. It was all he could do to just look at Beato with those sluggish eyes, but a flood of emotions passed between them. There was no need for words. A look was enough for them now. Erika closed her eyes tightly, her finger still up against the barrel. At that moment, her stunning powers of concentration made all the distractions of the outside world disappear. Good. My concentration is as sharp as ever. Are you ready, me, Furdo, Erika? First, let's lay out the situation. Battler disappeared from that locked room. This music is giving me, like, the new Ace Attorney game vibes, Chronicles. I like it. Battler disappeared from that locked room. The chain lock is set. Did he disappear by magic? Of course not. There has to be a trick. Cannon didn't save him with magic. He just came, took Battler's place, and set the chain. Everyone knows that much. The problem is what comes next. No, it's actually what comes before. Yeah, how did he escape? Cannon was in the cousin's room in the guest house. That room was completely sealed with duct tape, and it has been proven the seal was in effect until the time of the logic error. In other words, Cannon escaped from a locked room that was absolute, with no excuses or twisted logic possible. Good. This is why she called it a simple yet ultimate locked room. How did he escape from the perfect locked room known as the cousin's room? Hee hee. If I fixated on that question, I'd be no better than your average kid detective. That room is a perfect locked room, so there is no way to escape. In other words, trying to think of ways that Cannon could have escaped from the cousin's room is simply a waste of time. So we've confirmed Cannon was already, like, he was in the room, because the only other explanation I could think of is, like, if it's a perfect locked room, is that he was never in the room to begin with, but it's already been confirmed and read, I believe, that he was in that room. The real question is how Cannon could have been somewhere other than the cousin's room at the time it was sealed. Hey, the cousin's room is a completely sealed can. If he was in there when it was sealed, then it's already game over. That means he was already outside it at the time it was sealed. I checked everyone's location at the time of sealing the rooms. The check I performed must be suspect. At that time, I had just been inside the next room over, and confirmed the presence of 5 people there with my own eyes. Hideyoshi, George, Kumasawa, Shannon, Nanjo. I specifically listed the name of those 5 people when performing the location check for that room. Oh, wait, didn't she say in red, she said, like, something with, like, and the others or something? She didn't specifically, like, list out all the names? Did she know this was gonna happen? Okay. I specifically listed the name of those 5 people when performing the location check for that room and received confirmation that they were in there. Then I checked to see, yes, whether everyone else was in the cousin's room, and had that confirmed for me as well. I said everyone, so whether he was Cannon or Yoshia, or even Puro Pico Man, they all should have been sealed in the cousin's room. Ah, okay. It seems perfect. However, Though that word everyone seems perfect, something's fishy. The exact definition of the phrase everyone else is all people whose names I did not mention directly. In other words, there are exceptions. For example, it's been confirmed that Hideyoshi and George were in the next room over, so humans with the name Hideyoshi or George don't need to be inside the cousin's room. Wait, what? It seems Canon told Jessica his real name was Yoshia? But that was no red truth. In other words, what if Canon's real name is the same as one of those in the next room over? Okay, we are going into really crazy territory. What if his name was like George? I don't see Canon as a George. They seem to be about the same age, so let's use George. So what if there were two Georges in that room? That doesn't violate the red truth saying that Hideyoshi, George, Kumasawa, Shannon, and Anjo are in the next room over. Let's say Canon's real name was Tanaka George. Both Ushiramiya George and Tanaka George could exist in that same room, or in that room at the same time. In other words, there were 6 humans with 5 names. It looked to my eyes as though there were only 5 people in the next room over, but a 6th person, Canon, was hiding somewhere. I don't have the detective's authority, so it wouldn't be that difficult for him to fool my eyes and hide. I see, the double name trick. Stupid, so stupid. Alright, I've made my logic. Canon, who was hiding in the next room over, not the cousin's room, left by the window after the seals were placed. So we're getting back into the whole name thing. The name thing seemed very important, like in previous chapters, and now it's coming back. So we'll see if Erika's right. Bang. There was an explosion at the barrel of her gun, staining the tip of her finger red with blood. The Blue Truth gunpowder had exploded. Ah, damn. I had Delanor seal that one a short while ago. I told her to ban any Blue Truth arguing about the windows of the next room over, so I can't use it.
どうした暴発か弾は慎重に込めぬとな
うるさいです。ちょっとしたミスです。
隣部屋の窓くだらん小細工で塞いだようだなガープに聞いたぞ
そうですか。それが何か
ドラノールそのくだらぬ封印を解け今やその封印は貴様らの枷であるわ
Beato had figured out everything I'd been thinking, and she's acting so confident, telling me to go ahead and use that argument. What a turnaround from little baby chick Beato to this one. It's almost like she's not even the same person.
解いてください。あんにゃろう。後悔させてやります。
準備はいいようだね決闘者たち良ければ向き合って銃口をそして真実の火種で着火を
After facing away and readying herself one last time, Erika spun around. Beato had been facing her since the beginning. She had a confident, challenging smile, as if she'd been kept waiting. Then without any signal, the two slowly raised their guns, pointing the red and blue glints that hid within their barrels at each other.
来い楽しませてもらうぞ
始めなさいまずカノンがいかにしていとこ部屋の密室から脱出したかそれを弾丸とします
ほうそちらから来るか来るがよいぞ存分に
参ります
Alright, let's go. After holding the gun high and pointing it at Beato once more, Erika pulled the trigger with statements of red and blue truth.
いとこ部屋は完全な密室が最後まで保証されていますよってカノンがこの部屋に本当にいたなら脱出は不可能ですつまりカノンは封印時にいとこ部屋にいなかったのですカノンの名は仮のもの本名は未だ不明です彼の本名が仮に隣部屋の誰かと同じだったなら隣部屋の在室確認に矛盾しない つまりいとこ部屋に収容されず隣部屋にいることができるということ。
The goat attendees chattered and clapped their hands in realization, as if to say, "Of course, I didn't think of that." I love watching this. I love being surrounded by this chatter. After all, I am a detective.
隣部屋は確かに封印されましたが、ロジックエラー時には扉のみしかその維持が証明されませんでした。よって窓の封印は破られた可能性があります。カノンは隣部屋に存在し、その窓から脱出したのです。以上。
Any other theory would be impossible. If this doesn't work, then there's no truth left. Which means Beato is totally gonna be like, that's not true. As soon as she said, that is all, both of them fired at the same time. After the blast rang out, it was Erika's gun that fell to the floor. Beato's red bullet had knocked Erika's gun from her hand, so there is another explanation. Shit. Was it arrogance or confidence? If she had just aimed that bullet at Erika's heart, the whole thing would have been over. Beato had missed on purpose. There was a confident smile on her face. It was as though she was offering to play with Erika a little longer. In fact, that was Beato through and through. Beatrice, the witch who mocks others with unsolvable locked room tricks.
封印時の隣部屋にいたのは秀吉、ジョージ、熊沢、シャノン、南條である。そして隣部屋の人数は5人である。この5つの名に該当する者以外は存在しない。
Okay.
すべての名は本人以外には名乗れない。
Alright, so much for, for Canon secretly being called George. Oh, that's all Erika had. She's like, if that's not it, there is no other truth. It was a thoroughly merciless red truth. It really was severe. Now that it had been limited to 5 people, any leeway for Canon hiding there had been completely denied. Since only those to whom those 5 names referred existed within the room, Erika couldn't even make a new theory by suggesting that 1 people held 2 names, so the 5 names referred to only 4 people, and allowing for Canon to sneak in even though his name wasn't on the list. Furthermore, the part about how every name has just 1 person that it belongs to, and no one can go by a name that is not theirs, was a fatal blow that cut down countless theories.
思えばそなたは前回の寝ぼけたわらわしか知らんのだ。
Yeah, she's like, you've not met me at my full force.
どうだエリカ、これが黄金の魔女のゲームだぜ。
バカな。魔法でカノンが部屋を抜け出したっていうの。
She's not gonna give up this easily.
それよりどうして銃を弾くなんて甘い真似を。
人間側は魔女の謎をすべて打ち砕き、魔女側は人間側の推理を一つ打ち砕けばいい。これではアンフェアだろう。だからわらわも同じにすることにした。
同じ？
わらわもそなたの推理をすべて打ち砕いて勝利することにした。カノン脱出の謎はわらわの勝ちだが、もう一つバトラに辛酸をなめさせた最初の戦場に戻ろうぞ。
When Beato snapped her fingers, the guest room of Battlers was reconstructed. She meant to fight once more in the room that had threatened Battler with a logic error, determined to settle things once and for all.
エリカ、拾え銃を。この部屋をお前の棺桶にしてくれるわ。
その言葉、そっくりお返しします。私にチャンスを与えたことを後悔させてやります。
立ち会い人よ、エリカに X を許す。
X？ 説明不要の根拠ね。
Man, she is confident.
で、何を許すの？
エリカはカノンの密室脱出トリックの説明義務を負わずに、カノンをこの 客室トリックをめぐる青き真実に組み入れることを許そうぞ。
The theory for explaining how Kennen saved Battler did not also explain how Kennen escaped from his own locked room. It would have no basis. Erika had already lost that basis. This almost feels like it's a slap in the face to Erika, where she's like, I'm gonna go easy on you. Beato was giving her a handicap by saying she didn't need to explain that part.
当然です。あんたはカノンがバトラを助けたことを赤き真実で保証してるんですから。そんなのもらえて当然です。
Erika faced away again and concentrated even harder. As though twisting the knob on a radio, she turned all noise and idle thoughts down to zero. Let's go, Furudo Erika. Detective Furudo Erika. As long as Kennen reaches this place, rescuing Battler isn't hard. The trick is as follows. Kennen used some kind of escape trick X to reach the front of the guest room. While I was busy in the bathroom, Battler left the closet. Battler undid the chain lock. Battler went outside. Kennen entered in his place. Kennen set the chain lock. Kennen went into the closet. The end. This satisfies the two red truths about the chain lock being set in Battler's absence. The fact it's so simple. Sometimes simple is the best explanation, but it's almost too simple that, like, of course Beato's going to have some sort of, like, comeback for that. And in exchange for this escape trick, Kennen remains inside the guest room. Well, that's literally what we saw, wasn't it? We saw Kennen take the place in the closet. There's no room for argument on how tightly this room can act as a locked room. That chain is cursed. In this demonic locked room, one person must remain as a sacrifice for it to be acceptable. However, is such a simple theory really enough? The rescuer switched places with him, and the rescuer's hiding in the closet. No other sort of theory is possible, and yet Beato thinks she can win. In that case, does some other trick exist? Maybe Beato saw Erika thinking the same thing, like, it's too simple, so I'm gonna go, like, really convoluted about it. Make her doubt herself. It's impossible. I swear on the history of the mystery genre that there's absolutely, definitely, categorically no other way. But I would never be able to call myself a detective if I gave in here. Consider, imagine, don't stop thinking. That's how you drive blue wedges into witches. One other thing I can think of. Yes, a wordplay trick. It can only be some kind of wordplay that just barely slips through the net of words spoken and read. In this case, I'll crush all possibilities. I'll crush them all with repetition requests. This final duel has already begun, even though we haven't pulled our triggers yet.
副将要求バトラ救出時客室に入ったのはカノンのみである。
認めようぞ。バトラ救出時客室に入ったのはカノンのみである。そういう話のつもりだが。
副将要求私の入室からロジックエラージまで私とバトラとカノン以外に入退出した者は存在しない。
認めようぞ。そなたの入室からロジックエラージまで客室を出入りしたのはそなたとバトラとカノンのみ。
副将要求それはすなわち3人のことである。
認めようぞ。
Okay, wow, she's given all of those requests.
そなたとバトラとカノンで3人である。
定義確認。この3人の定義は体の数に等しいと考えていい？3体が出入りをしたってことですよね。
Oh, not like alter egos or whatever? I've had enough of things being mixed about with names and numbers of people. I want this point to be clear.
無論だ。3人。すなわち3体が出入りした。そなたとカノンは入ったのみ。バトラは出たのみ。すべての名は本人以外に名乗れないと赤き真実ですでに語っている。よってエリカ、バトラ、カノンの名はいずれも本人にしか名乗れぬのだ。
副将要求私は救出者ではない。
当然だ。 そなたは探偵ではないか。安心せよ。わらわはそれを尊重する。
定義確認。救出者の定義とは？
This is also important. I want to immediately remove the possibility that I rescued him accidentally.
救出者とはバトラの開けたチェーンロックを再びかけ直したものという。バトラを救う意志があったかどうかは問わないことにしておく。
Since she said after Battler undid the chain lock, it's impossible for this to have occurred before I set foot into the room. After that point in time, I would not undo the chain for all eternity. After all, the game was suspended at that point. Therefore, it's impossible for me to have been the rescuer accidentally. More, I can boil it down even more. The chain can only be set from the inside. It's impossible for a person to escape on their own. Therefore, we know that Battler didn't escape by himself. And I'm not the rescuer. Only Canon can be the rescuer. Plus, Beato had already said that Canon is the rescuer in Red Truth. There's nothing to doubt. There's no room for anyone but Canon to be involved, yet she looks so uncertain. At least, so far. She's like, I'm missing something. I have to be. This seems too easy.
出入りの定義とは、客室と外部の境界をまたいだかどうかである。
認めよう。
復唱要求。客室とはベッドルーム、バスルーム、クローゼット内の全てを含む。
認めようぜ。クローゼット内を客室でないと言い逃れる気などさらさらないわ。
定義確認。客室内とはベッドルーム、バスルーム、クローゼット内の3区分である。
わらわもその認識でいるぞ。そしてすでにそなたはベッドルーム、バスルームの2区分で誰も隠れていないことを赤き真実で確認したはずだ。
復唱要求。クローゼット内には誰かがいる。
拒否する。
Alright, I was about to say, like, she is accepting all the repetition requests. I'm like, does she have to? Because this is the duel, but apparently she can decline.
どうしてカノンがそこに隠れているからですか？
カノンは魔法が使えるのだぞ。確かにクローゼットに一時姿を隠しはしたが、
Oh,
その後すぐに魔法で姿を消
are you
した。
gonna say that in red? Probably not.
だからクローゼット内には不在。よって復唱はできぬわ。
それの復唱を再要求します。
バカめ。魔女側には魔法で行ったことについて説明する義務はないわ。
No, it's completely obvious. There's no way she can say Kennen disappeared with magic using the red truth. After all, magic doesn't exist. But is this enough? I've gone through every last minor detail, and yet there's an uncanny lack of dubious points. I can't imagine that there's any room for anything to go any differently from the theory I've had since the beginning. Kennen must be in the closet. He has to be. There's no way he isn't. I'll say it again. This locked room can only be escaped from by switching places with the rescuer. If Kennen tried to escape as well, another rescuer would be needed. However, no rescuer exists for Kennen. Battler escaped, so it's impossible for it to be him. And I won't undo the chain for all eternity. The people who have gone in and out of the room have been confirmed both by name and number of people, which means my theory is set in stone. First, here are the details of the situation that are certain. The game ended while I was inside the guest room, so I did not undo the chain lock I had previously set. So it can't be that he escaped behind my back after I left the room. Furthermore, the chain lock was set at the same time I entered the room. No one could have left the room during the few seconds between the time I entered and the time I set the chain lock. I sealed the guest room at the time I examined Battler's corpse. So, until I came again and broke the seals, it was absolutely impossible for anyone to go in or out. Therefore, it's certain Battler was hiding somewhere inside the guest room at the time I entered it. The only chance Battler had to escape was after I broke the seals. Oh, interesting. To be even more specific, he had no chance to escape except for the time I was in the bathroom. By the above premises, Battler's trick to escape with the chain still set is as follows. The aforementioned reasons. The only one who could have set the chain lock, which can only be set from the inside, and allowed Battler's escape. Is Cannon the only person to enter the room except for me and Battler? After Cannon entered the room, he set the chain, hid it in the one place he could hide inside the guest room, the closet. Uh-huh. Oh, shit. What? Whoa, that was close. They almost got me. They almost tricked me. I thought I had cornered him in the closet. It's the opposite. They're trying to make me think he's in the closet. Okay. What was the order in which I searched the guest room? First, the bedroom. We confirmed with the red there was nothing there. Then, the bathroom. We confirmed with the red there was nothing there. That's it, right there. When we examined the bedroom, there was nothing there. However, while I was investigating the bathroom, Cannon slipped out of the closet and hid again somewhere in the bedroom. In other words, the guarantee that no one was in the bedroom was torn apart after just 1 minute. I've spotted it. This is the witch's trap, an attempt to lure me to thinking that Cannon's in the closet. The place he's really hiding is the bedroom. Alright, well, we'll see. She's so smug about it, and then Beato's probably gonna shut her down.
見つけた。やっと見つけましたよ。あんたのトリック。
Oh? That was a close one. If I'd gone and said there was nowhere to hide except inside the closet, she'd have said, too bad, the closet is empty. No, wait. It works the same way in reverse. I see. Now I get it. It's an interchangeable logic trick. Damn, that Beato. So, in resolving the logic error, she's discovered this strange trick. If I only noticed the closet, she'll have Cannon hide under the bed. And if I only notice the bed, she'll have Cannon hide in the closet. Both are correct, yet choosing either one means losing. I have to expose both at the same time, or it isn't checkmate. Incredible. I've never heard of such an unfair trick. If this was a magician's stage trick, it would just be a cheap one. If this were a mystery, it would just be cheating. However, in the witch's game, it's a legitimate logic trick. In chess, it would be called a double check. No, a discovered attack. No, a discovered double checkmate? Even though this sort of logic would be a foul trick in the mystery genre, in this world where witches wage war with mystery, what a regal position it is. The beautiful placement of the black pieces cornering my white knight feels almost like art, a work of such beauty that if I were a god in the age of myth, I might wish to display it in the sky as a constellation. That beauty even brought tears to my eyes. For the first time, I feel honored to have been allowed to participate as a human in a game of truth against a witch. And ironically, it taught me, a person who has always believed that there's only one truth, that truth isn't necessarily always singular. If I just broaden my perspective, I can see a completely different truth. And though each of these truths are true, both are incorrect if they are all you can see. Without love, it cannot be seen, maybe? In my life until now, just how many truths have I turned my eyes away from, because I was blinded by some trivial truth? This is the truth of the world. Erika's having a full-on, like, existential crisis right now.
たった一つの真実を見つけただけで、それ以外の真実から私たちを盲目にしてしまう。ありがとう、ベアトリーチェさん。まさか魔女にこの世界の真理を教えられるとは思いませんでした。
Slowly, with a soft and gentle motion, like a flower opening, with the morning dew dripping down its side, Erika raised her gun.
私の勝ちです。あなたのダブルチェック。
Oh, okay. Let's see how this goes. Did she really? Did she really see through it, or is there another thing that she didn't even account for?
バトラの客室失踪トリックは以下の通りです。バトラは私の室内探索中、クローゼット内に隠れていました。そしてバスルームの騒ぎの間にチェーンを外し、室外へ脱出しました。この時 廊下にはカノンが待機していました。カノンは入れ替わりで客室に入り、チェーンを施錠しました。これがバトラ失踪のトリックです。
But there's more to it than that.
そしてその後、彼は私がベッドルームに不審者がいないことを確認した後のことですので、それは有効です。よって救出者カノンはベッドルームに潜伏しています。
Erika's blue bullet flew in a strange arc, became a wedge of the blue truth, and pierced straight through the bed and floor beneath. Beato didn't pull her trigger. However, she did quietly argue back with the red truth.
ベッドルームにカノンは存在しない。
The goat attendees gasped, and it appeared as though Erika had been defeated, denied by the red truth. To goats who can't see more than a single truth, it probably looks as though I've lost.
次が本命です。これが並び立つ真実を知り得た人間の答えです。どうやら幻想物語では第二の晩までが終わってるみたいです。
Erika is so sure of herself that I'm starting to think maybe she's got it.
ならば私が残りの晩を遂行して黄金鏡への扉を開いてあげましょう。あなたが負けて消えるならば、それは黄金のバラに包まれてがふさわしい。
The fires of blue truth flashed at Erika's feet, and she loaded a blue truth bullet once more. That overflowing blue power was now making her entire gun burn with a blue flame. She wasn't aiming for Beato. She was aiming behind Beato. At the closet.
ベッドルームを否定したならば、もう逃げ場はここしかない。死ね、カノン！
What? Is he not going to be there either? And that's going to be it? The 5 wedges of blue truth she released grazed Beato's cheeks, hair, and shoulders, then pin-cushioned the door to the closet to gouge whatever human was inside to death. The 5 wedges slammed into the door in a vertical line. In other words, on the 4th twilight, gouge the head and kill. On the 5th twilight, gouge the chest and kill. On the 6th twilight, on the 7th twilight, on the 8th twilight, gouge and kill and kill and kill. After being gouged by so many thick and sharp wedges, the human inside wouldn't stand a chance. And this is where Beato will be like, Cannon is not inside the closet.
これが私の暴く真実です。以上!
When she proclaimed she had finished, the 5 blue wedges piercing the closet disappeared. However, the many large splintered holes left behind showed that it had indeed been pierced. Then, as though this had concluded the ceremony that led to the Golden Land, the space that was the constructed guest room became countless golden flower petals and drifted away. Now the duelists and the crowd of attendees were surrounded by the golden rose garden of the Golden Land. However, the closet behind Beato remained. It stood there all by itself, like a coffin. Then, as though teased open by a desolate wind, the whole covered closet door slowly opened to find that no one was inside. Inside was a human figure. What? The figure was covered up to the head by what appeared to be a greenish-gray robe. Of course, that also had large holes showing it had been stabbed into. Eventually, it became clear that this was not a robe, but a raincoat. If he had rushed here from the guest house, then there would be nothing strange about him wearing this into the guest house. Then, with a rustle, the raincoat lost its human shape, crumpled, became a cloud of gold butterflies, and disappeared. Yeah. I was worried for a second there when they said a human figure. Inside the coffin of the closet, nothing remained except an empty darkness.
客室にカノンは存在しない。もちろんクローゼット、ベッドルーム、バスルーム、この全てにおいてである。
Erika had like a whole revelation about like life and the world, and it just got crushed.
カノンはバトラーを逃がしクローゼットに隠れ、そして魔法にて消えた。それが魔女の真実以上だ。
勝負ありです。それ以上は。
Did Erika just shoot her anyway?
勝者
Oh.
ベアトリー
Hey! Hey! It's funny, I'm actually happy Beato won. The attendees let out a cheer. Virgilia's group couldn't help but scream and shout in joy. The seven sisters jumped about in celebration. Then, at the same moment, the two demons proclaimed Beatrice's victory. The heads ring worn by Erika was slowly crumpling to the ground, and the cursed ring on Battler's finger both burst. Yeah, they're gonna have their reunion! At the same time, Battler coughed violently. Battler was starting to regain consciousness.
バトラー
Aww. Beato latched onto the coughing Battler in joy. Virgilia, Gap, and Runaway did the same. I love that they've all just become like buddies now. It's great. All the seven sisters also crowded about in delight.
ひでえトリックだ。こんなので通ると思ってんのか。こんなトリックじゃまた人間どもがこんなのミステリーじゃねえって騒ぎ出すぜ。いいえ、
立派なトリックです。愛がない人には見えないです。バトラさん、バトラさん。エリカ卿、エリカ卿、誰か手当てを早くです。
The rose of blood in Erika's chest wouldn't stop opening its petals.
第3度概念否定書。存続系中和剤は不可。大至急の最短承認でのみ中和可能。駒の主の最短承認が必要な。
Well, that's Bernkastel, and she's gonna be like, nah, she failed twice. She is useless to me.
ベルンカステル卿、最短のご許可を。
It's nice to see Delanor like does care about Erika.
ベルンカステル卿、
Seems to be like the only person who does care.
どちらに。
式典警備隊に捜索要請。ベルンカステル卿を探したまえ。
She just got bored and left, and was like, I'm gonna go get some more juice or whatever.
了解であります。オールシエスタ、データリンク、捜索体制。
卑劣。主が駒の決闘を見届けないなんて卑劣が過ぎると知れ。
After learning that our master was already nowhere to be seen, Erika, who was being held by Delanor, didn't feel lonely. On the contrary, she was relieved that she wouldn't need to be brutally scolded in the last moments of her life.
神と悪魔たちよ、彼女の高潔なる散り際をどうか語り継ぎたまえ。
高潔。悪役ってのはきっちり無様に散って主品を盛り上げなきゃです。
I'm not anyone's piece anymore. I can finally control my own role.
エリカ卿、
She's reached like her final transformation as like a boss fight at the end. Is she gonna try and get up one more time and be like, it's not over yet, even though it's already been declared over?
動いてはいけません。
下がりなさい。下がれ。
When Erika yelled with all her soul, those who surrounded her flinched back and fell on their butts.
私は真実の魔女フルドエリカ。 真実の魔女とは真実に耐える魔女。私はようやく自分の本当の真実を受け入れられそうなんです。
A toxin of her own concept being denied raced through her. Her vision was already starting to blur. At the other end of her twisted range of vision were Battler and Beato hugging each other and looking at her. Their expressions were firm. That's okay. Pity and sympathy would only make me look more pathetic. That sort of expression is a loser's greatest salvation.
エリカ卿、もう決闘は終わっています。
終わってないんだ。
It's not over. What?
死が
Okay.
二人を分かつまで
誰にも彼女の散り際を汚せない。
The two demons grabbed Eleanor's shoulders and held her back. Dripping blood, breathing heavily, and with an awkward gait, Erika walked towards Beato and Battler despite it all. Like I said, she's tenacious. She doesn't give up until the very end. As the blood dripped from her, it became golden flower petals which drifted away. So as she walked, she looked both divine and beautiful. The duel wouldn't end until one of them died, so even though the outcome was clear, it wasn't over. Oh, it's like Beato have to give her like a mercy kill. Beato and Battler told the people bunched around them to step back, and they both walked forward to face the noble loser.
エリカ。
復活おめでとうございます。あんた長男の層を持ってますよ。ろくな女に好かれやしない。
そうだな。俺もろくな女に惚れねえな。
ベアト、いいえ、あんたたちに頼みが。
もう人たちを望むのですか？
エリカ。
受けようぞ。
She just immediately snaps back into like, wow, I love it.
そなたの高潔なる申し出を断る無粋をわらわたちは持たぬ。
ありがとう。
As her consciousness began to waver, Erika raised her gun again. She pointed it at the two of them. Beato also raised her gun to point at Erika. Oh, look at that. That's so beautiful in a weird way, but it is. Then Battler placed his hands on hers.
もう決着してるのに、これ以上何の論点があるというのです。
エリカ様。
私はなぜ何の力にもなれずここに。見届けなさい。それが親友の仕事でしょ。
Both sides silently loaded their bullets of truth without saying a word. The color packed into each barrel was red. Though neither side spoke, did they both know what trump card the other would use?
最後に自己紹介しとこうと思いまして。
What is she saying? This late into the game? No one could imagine what red truth Erika had loaded.
ベアト、いいのか。
はい、構いません。
わかった。
せめて最後の引き金は一緒に。
わかってるぜ。
Battler placed his own hand on top of the finger that Beato had around the
バト
trigger.
ラさん、会えてよかった。
Wait, it makes it seem like she's gonna go. The whole thing about Erika is like, let me introduce myself. What is Erika gonna be like? Is that gonna make Beato go away? Who she is? Wait,
俺
what?
たちは永遠にずっと一緒だ。
It does seem like she's gonna disappear.
イチャイチャと見せつけてくれます。イラついてきてたんです。 やっぱお涙で退場は私の好みじゃないです。やっぱ悪役は最後の最後までこういう面でなきゃ。
And she's got a lot of energy to her for someone who's like bleeding out.
お前との結婚生活もヘドが出るくらい楽しかったかもな。
And it's nice to have the old Battler back.
当然です。毎日のけぞらせまくってベアトさんなんか忘れさせてあげるくらいの快楽の世界に閉じ込めてあげたのに。
お前ごとき小娘、バトラーを虜にするにはまだ1000年早いわ。
ああ、あんたの顔もそれが一番キュートです。お互い最後はこういう顔がいいですよね。
恋。
これが探偵フルドエリカの最後の捨て台詞、そして自己紹介です。
Oh, wait. It's all scrolling. Erika spun around a magnificent and graceful rondo, scaring blood and golden dust. Oh, what's going on here? Okay. Okay. I hate when the game does this randomly. It's going so fast. I'm the 18th human of Rokunjima.
申し訳ないが
そなたを迎えても
17人だ。
It's only 17. Wait, what? Okay, wait, okay. It's only 17. Okay, I'll have to look into that. Because there was a whole thing about like 18 or 19 humans on the, right? 18 humans? You think I would know this by now. I'm only 6 chapters in. There's a whole thing about like the 19th person X, but now they're saying even if Erika joins them, that's only 17. Well, I mean, at least not everybody died, so that's a thing. It's pretty crazy that this game only made it to the second Twilight. But they did say the game was just suspended. So I wonder if we're actually going to finish it now that, like, Battler's back. Does that mean that he can finish the game off? Because we still have the post-game stuff, the tea party and whatnot. Alright, so let's now move on to the tea party, and then, of course, we'll check out the character profiles afterwards. Alright, so are we gonna get now the marriage between Beato and Battler? Yep, Beato took Battler's hand and put a ring with the seal of the one-winged eagle on his finger.
いいのか?
It's pretty crazy to think how this started, you know, the whole day, like how it started, how it ended, like with these two were like adversaries and like enemies almost. But, or he hated her so much, and now look how far they've come.
領主はすでにあなたです。ですからこの指輪はバトラさんのものです。
本当にいいのか? これはお前が生み出した世界、そして物語。
はい、あなたと一緒になりたくて生み出した物語だから、もうこの世界の目的は果たされました。だからこれからはあなたが紡いでください。
And poor Battler, he put so much thought into this story, and he only got to the second Twilight. So hopefully the next story will actually get to go the whole way through.
私とあなたのこれからの物語よ。
てんじゃ、勝手が狂うか。領主のめんどくさい仕事を押し付けるだけよ。 夫人は威張るだけでいいから実に気楽なことだ。わらわは日々を遊んで、そなたが新しい物語を書くのを待てばいい。そして新しい物語のたびにそなたのためにどんな役でもこなそうぞ。凶悪な魔女でも好敵手でも
恋人でも妻でも。
Well, Battler will never get bored with her. She's like two different people in one. I mean, that was the whole thing, right? About the two halves of Beato coming together.
朝から晩まで大忙しだ。
望むところよ。
Beato's hand relinquished the ring of the territory lord. Oh, that's so pretty! From Battler, she received a silver ring with a crest that could only be worn by the wife of the territory lord. If you had showed me this CG at the end of, like, the first episode, or, like, when I first started playing this, I'd be like, what? How? Then they exchanged their rings, and their wedding was complete. Then the pair turned around, faced the packed crowd of guests, and raised their rings high. Is Bernkastel still gone at this point? Did she just stalk off like a sore loser? Is she ever coming back? A thunderous applause rang out for them. I almost feel sorry for Erika. That's twice that she's, you know, got to be a witch and have what she wanted, and then twice got taken away. Except this time she's no more, apparently. At Battler's nod, Beato read the name of the first guest to be recognized. Wait. What's Jessica doing here? A girl goat pushed her way through the crowd, took off her mask. So she, like, disguised herself to get in here? What? A cloud of gold butterflies gathered before Battler and Beato, and took the form of Canon, kneeling in front of those two nobles. Canon had already died and vanished. However, all the dead revived in the Golden Land. Ah, okay, they're in the Golden Land. Are they in the Golden Land? Or he was just revived. Anyway. They can all be together again. That's the important thing.
Kano, ここに。
Oh, it's so weird. It is so strange to hear Beatrice call Battler her husband. What?
これを救出し、永遠の牢獄に自ら残るという自己犠牲を見せた。その献身、叙勲に値する。よって、その身の復活と士官を許可するものである。はっ。ありがたき幸せ。
And Canon hated Beatrice so much, and now look how far he's come too. Jessica raced forward and landed sobbing into Canon's chest. Canon patted her head gently and held her.
家具として使えるんじゃないぜ。人間として使えるんだぜ。そこの意味。
Yay, everybody gets to be in love, not just Shannon and George. Are they gonna get married right now too? Marriage is for everybody. After looking at Jessica sobbing, he looked at Battler again and nodded forcefully.
そしてもう一組。後ろ宮ジョージ、並びにシャノン、前へ。
はい。
George and Shannon were the next to be called. Perhaps they had already readied themselves. They walked forward boldly and kneeled.
後ろ宮ジョージ、ここに。
シャノン、ここに。
そなたらはゼパルとフルフルの試練を見事最後まで耐え抜いた。その見事な功績と愛情、決意と高潔さは模範としてこの上なく叙勲に値する。よって。
Oh, they get to get married. Well, that's what they wanted, right?
本証明書は何人たりとも異議申し立てすることはかなわない。叙勲者親族一同は心して祝福せよ。
つうわけだ。しがらみは一切なしで、どうか二人に米粒の雨をぶつけて祝福してやってくれ。
I guess this is Battler's game, right? It's all about love. Everybody got their love.
よっ、おめでとう。
When the territory lord clapped his hands in celebration, it spread throughout the entire cathedral. Then a group of goats in the front line of the crowd took their masks off one by one.
いいこと？あんまりしょっぱいお味噌汁作ったら許さないんだからね。それからジョージは少し太りやすいから砂糖は控えめに。
Oh, Shannon, she's going to be such a fun mother-in-law to have. Even when she is, like, has to agree with the wedding, she's still being such a nag.
親より嫁を大切にせなあかん。母さんが何を言ってもな、シャノンちゃんをしっかり守るんやで。
ああ、当然さ。
ジョージさん。ジョージはね、きっちり7時間寝ないとダメなのよ。夜更かしさせたら許さないんだからね。背中を流すのも耳の掃除も妻の仕事なのよ。
Oh, that's news to me. Will my husband leave me because I have not washed his back or cleaned his ears? Is that a thing? Like, I know this is the 80s, but that feels so antiquated.
そうだったんですか？私としたことが。
仕事内容は家による。
ルドルフさん、妻を大事にしてる？
I'm pretty sure if I came at my husband trying to clean his ears, he'd bat me away and be like, what the fuck are you doing?
してるじゃねえか。なんでそこ疑うんだよ。
お幸せにね、ご両人。結婚はゴールじゃないわ。むしろスタートよ。
おめでとうおめでとう。うりゅうおめでとう。
僕たちも負けてられないですね。
絶対負けねえぜ。畜生。
All the Ushurmiya family, all the servants, and all the spirits and demons in attendance celebrated the honorees with even greater applause.
これにて黄金の魔女によって紡がれる物語は幕を閉じる。最後は碑文にて物語を結ぶのが良いだろう。以下は黄金の魔女の碑文より黄金鏡の章。魔女は賢者をたたえ4つの宝を与えるだろう。一つは黄金鏡のすべての黄金。一つはすべての死者の魂をよみがえらせ、一つは失った愛すらもよみがえらせる。一つは魔女を永遠に眠りにつかせよう。
安らかに眠れ、我が最愛の魔女ベアトリーチェ。
It's funny, I've only heard, like, I've been so inundated with the first part of the epitaph that part I'm just like, is that my first time hearing that? I know the whole thing about, like, the winner gets the gold, but the thing about resting of the witch. Alright, we're back. Angie, still like, I still don't understand what's happening. What does this mean?
これでベアトは満足して眠りについたってこと？そう解釈するのが妥当であろう。それで
Well, she rests because Battler figured out her game, right?
ゲームはお開きになったからお兄ちゃんは解放されるんでしょ？
Featherine's like, no, silly girl, we still have 2 more chapters.
お兄ちゃんはどうなるの？さてどうなるやら。そのかけらの書物はそこまでの物語しか記しておらぬようだ。お兄ちゃんがどうなるか結局わからずじまいじゃない。
It's not as though anything will come out of it anyway. In the end, Oni-chan and the others never came back. They reached the Golden Land and enjoyed themselves there. So says the tale, but in reality, everyone died in that horrific accident. Yeah, this is all flowery and sweet, but then we have to think about the reality, which is everybody died on the island. Angie was left alone.
でもいろいろと興味深いことが知れたわ。あの島はやっぱりとんでもない幻想の島なのね。
まったくだ。そしてそなたの朗読はとても素晴らしいものだった。
なんだかぶっ通して6時間くらい映画を見せられたような疲労感だわ。疲れた。
後宮エンジェ、本当にご苦労だった。我が退屈はそなたの朗読によって癒された。このフェザリーヌ、数えることも忘れて久しい年月ぶりに心よりそなたに感謝するぞ。
感謝するなら私にも何か助君してほしいわね。
何が良いか。少し時間をもらおう。考える。
Featherine sat down in her rocking chair and rocked it gently, apparently trying to think of something.
後宮エンジェ、本当にご苦労だった。よくぞ最後まで朗読に付き合ってくれた。
I mean, I feel like the one thing Angie wants is her family back, but I mean, that's not possible.
これにて、我が巫女の任を解く。そなたは元の世界に戻り、そなたに与えられた運命を再開するがいい。
やれやれ、とんだ寄り道だったって感じね。
すねるな。褒美は今考えている。そうだな。たまには少し。いや、もう随分とやっていない。壺のインクも干からびて墨になっていそうであるな。
Even after the tale ended, Angie and Hachijo's debate over it continued for quite some time. It was very serious and fiery. Angie had acknowledged that this tale was no crazy literary work, but a new message bottle, which had drifted here once more from the Rokanjima of 12 years previous to tell her of a single possible truth. And it seemed as though she had found her own interpretation of the truth she thought the tale was trying to tell. Of course, that was only one truth, and the whole thing, that's like what Erika said about, like, there can be multiple truths. You don't just, like, zero in on one and push aside all the other ones. It did not mean an end to her journey. Still, this interpretation had its place. It wasn't sufficient to fill the 12-year gap in her heart. However, for now, she was content just to enjoy the feeling of the tale had created, along with the bitter hot coffee Hachijo had made.
ありがとう。最後まで読んでくれて。そしてあなたの考えと。
Once again, it feels like she's talking to me directly.
きっと一番最初の無限の魔女も喜んでいると思います。
なんだ、素直にそういうことも言えるじゃない。最初からそういう口調で喋ってればもっとファンも増えるんじゃない。
あなたという素晴らしい読者を称えているだけです。物言わぬ、考えることもできぬ豚どもに読ませるくらいならば、あなた一人のために原稿を記す方が私に与えられた寿命という時間をよほど有意義に費やせると言いたいだけ。
だからそういうことを言わなきゃいいのに。ま、一応は褒められたと思っておくわ。さて。
I get the feeling that I've spent a really, really long time here. It feels as though I've spent a major fraction of my life here. It should feel uncomfortable, sitting here on a sofa in someone else's house, but for some strange reason, it feels as familiar as my own home. However, the clock shows it's only been about 2 or 3 hours since I met her. My sense of time feels very strange.
お連れの方は遅いですね。
Maybe she slipped something in Angie's tea. She just hallucinated all of that.
長電話かしら。男のくせに気持ち悪いやつ。
He said he was going to make a scheduled report to Okanagi-san, didn't he? Even though he was told he could use the phone here, he declined and went to look for a public phone somewhere. Something about how he didn't want to risk being bugged. It was too ridiculous a point to argue, so I just left him to it.
公衆電話って遠いんですか？
通りに出てずっと下っていけば角のお店にありますよ。
これでおいとまします。これ、洋館代にでも。
そのお金をあなたに払ったら、また来て、私の新しい原稿を読んで、感想を聞かせてくれますか？
札束払ってまで、私みたいな可愛くない女に原稿を読んでほしいんですか？
いいえ、あなたは本当に良い、よく考える読者だった。あなたのような人を探すために、私たちは物語を紡ぎ、世に放っているのです。
褒めすぎだわ。私は読書に感情移入しすぎるタイプなだけよ。
この短くない時間を割いてくれたお礼に、いつかきっとあなたの物語を書きましょう。
またあんたの義書に私が登場するの？今度はマシな殺し方を頼むわ。
あなたは奇跡はお好き？
ご都合主義？昔は嫌いだったけど、最近は大歓迎よ。ただ口が肥えてるんで、ビルから飛び降りて無傷なくらいじゃもう奇跡には入れてないけど。
ではそんなあなたが奇跡に思える物語を
Maybe the miracle that she can be reunited with Battler again. And the rest of her family. I mean, that's the one miracle she wants.
どうも。突然押しかけて、ひどいことばっかり言ってすみませんでした。
いいえ、有意義な対談でしたよ。編集局長さんにまたあなたとの対談をセッティングしてもらおうかしら。
その機会がまたあるならね。See you again. Have a nice day.
ええ、またいつかあなたの真実にたどり着けますように。
ありがとう。
もしあなたの真実にたどり着けたなら、あなたの真実もいつか物語にしてみてください。
あんたらの魔女仲間になれと？どうかしら。
And she's already one, isn't she? She's the new endless witch.
文字書くの苦手だし、良き読者が良き執筆者とは限らないわよ。
いやいや、全く。私も人の本は全く読めませんし。
Wow, she's like, I'm just such a good writer that I can only read my own things. I've been spoiled by myself.
やれやれ。じゃあこれで。
あなたとはこれで二度と会わないだろうけれど、いつかどこかで別のあなたにまた会える幸運を祈っています。
最後に一つだけ聞いてもいい？
どうぞ。
物語の中に登場したフェザリーヌって魔女、あれはあんたよね？
語るのもおこがましいですが、そのつもりです。
こういう質問もおかしいんだけど、あんたがフェザリーヌなの？フェザリーヌがあんたなの？
さて、何の話やら。
The mysterious woman remained mysterious to the end, and so I made it through a day I had no memory of, and the following day I took a boat to Nijima. I'll probably never see her again. However, that just means that I won't see her. The other me's might, somewhere down the road. Just as I was able to reach several truths, I pray that they too can reach their destinations. So long, Featherine. If you ever write a better story, please call me again. If I'm free, I might drop by.
おかげさまでこんな豪勢なエスコートは初めてですぜ。おこのぎの旦那も招待したいくらいだ。
遠慮すら。もう俺は年だ。飛んだり跳ねたりは卒業したぜ。
The person on the other end of the line was Okanagi. Okanagi was also one who tended to move from place to place, so it hadn't been easy to catch him even on the phone.
こっちはクールな旅をしてますんで、今んところ飛んだり跳ねたりの必要はありません。
スマデラカスミが死に物狂いで探している。情報屋の話じゃ、すでに六軒島への足まで用意させてるらしい。鉢合わせするぜ。
予定通り。
Just as planned. Wait a minute. So they knew that that was gonna happen?
せいぜい5、6人前後のグループだろう。
Did Angie know about this? I'm trying to remember. It was a while since that chapter. Like, she didn't seem super surprised to see Kasumi there. I think maybe she might have known. So was it all a setup to, like, take her out so that she wouldn't be a bother?
武装もおそらく拳銃程度。お前の敵じゃない。
Okay, it seems like it.
好きに暴れろ。だが確実に殺せ。お前好みのおもちゃは用意できたか？
もちろん。旦那もよくこんなもんが国内で手配できるもんだ。
Behind Damakusa was the rental car they'd borrowed under a false name, inside of which was now a black golf bag. Right, the one that he had with him when they went on the boat. Wait, the Sumadera head family has already given the okay, so this was like an inside job? What?
今度は気をつけますって。ちょろい仕事です。
This is a little confusing. Sumadera is the one that are after Angie, but they're saying they're giving him the okay?
あと、例の件も分かってるよな。
例の件はて何のことやら。
とぼけやがって。まあいいさ。お前はなんだかんだ言って昔から俺の期待を裏切らない男さ。お前さえ容量が良けりゃ手を汚さずに済む。いくらでもやりようがあるさ。
This feels foreboding. The music doesn't help.
何の話か分かりかねますぜ。
エンジェちゃんもかわいそうな子なのは分かってんだ。ならそうと真相の令状らしく振る舞ってくれりゃいいんだが、エヴァさんなきゃと俺たちは結束していくことで合意してんだ。
Oh, I wonder if Okanagi is going to betray Angie because, like, Angie's the one who is in control of, like, the business. Is Okanagi is he gonna be, like, is he the next in line? So maybe he is gonna betray Angie. And maybe he's gonna use, It sounds like it. She's a liability. And the whole thing about the Sumaderas have given the okay, it seems like they're kind of working together.
流れ次第ってことですぜ。スマデラの黒服がマシな銃の撃ち方をしてくれりゃいいんだが。
Oh, this is bad. Angie's gonna get set up?
なんです旦
那。まさかほんの数日の逃避行でエンジちゃんとできちまったわけじゃねえだろうな。
あんなちちくせえ小娘にご冗談を。
いや俺は別にいいんだぜ。お前もようやく女にちょっかいを出すくらいには吹っ切れたってことじゃねえか。世界の半分は女なんだぜ。一人や二人でうじうじしてたら身が持たねえぜ。
おっと、噂すりゃなんとやらだ。お嬢が来ました。そんじゃこれで。
I am so curious of what this plan of theirs is.
新島の宿に着いたら連絡しますぜ。それじゃ。
Angie walked down the street towards me. Why'd she have to do that when I told her to wait for me to come back? If only she wasn't like this, she might have lived a long life. Wow, so it... Huh. It sounds like... She gon' die. She would have lived a long life.
すみませんすみません。お嬢はどうでした？何か面白いことは分かりましたかい？
面白かった。収穫はそれだけよ。
そいつはクールだ。
After Amakusa opened the passenger side door, Angie got in the car. Amakusa quickly went around to the driver's seat.
じゃあ港へ向かいます。旦那の情報じゃスマだらけが網を張ってるらしいですぜ。
それに引っかかるようなら私の運もその程度。引っかからないなら六軒島は私を待ってるわ。任せましょう、運に。
運か。
どうするか決めかねている時、あるいはどうでもいい時、コイントスのように運命に身を任すのも悪いことじゃないわ。
へへ、なら俺もそいつに任せてみますかね。嫌いじゃねえや、そういうの。
ボディーガードが運任せとか言い出したわ。最悪。
旦那との電話のせいですっかりオチを読み損ねちまった。あの後どうなったんですかい？
いやよ、教えないわ。
そりゃ残念。
Car dashed through the hilly town. It would not return to Hachijo's house for all eternity. However, Angie didn't get sentimental about it. For now, she just wanted to silently consider the new message bottle that the current endless witch Hachijo Toya had given her. And in the rearview mirror, the town where a witch lived faded off into the distance. However, that scene wasn't reflected in Angie's eyes. Wait, that's it? There's usually another one, right? Usually you get this and then there's the thing after the question mark, because I have so many questions already. There we go.
Ramda, どこ?
Just having to say that felt like admitting defeat, and I didn't like it. Why is it that she's always so obnoxious and clingy when I don't need her, and then won't answer when I call her name? Where am I? Annoyed by the completely predictable ending, I had left the cathedral. I had planned on finding some terrace with a cool night's breeze, where I could kill some time until the end of that farcical reception.
確かに人の顔を見たくなかったから人気のない方へばかり進んだけど、さすがにこれはいないにも程があるわ。
I, the great Bernkastel, am lost? A miracle like that certainly couldn't happen. Yes, miracles don't exist in this world. To create a miracle, you need an amount of time that can never be reached, a period that is no different from infinity. So when something that appears to be a miracle happens in a shorter span of time than that, it is not a miracle, but due to someone's design. In other words, the reason I'm walking down this bizarre corridor is because someone's design has forced me here.
誰? こんな手の込んだ真似で私を呼ぶのはよっぽどの恥ずかしがり屋みたいね。こんな人気のないところに呼び出すんだから。
Then, from the other end of the dark corridor, I heard a sound. Patter, 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 patter. It sounded as though some small animal, like a dog or cat, was walking at a quick pace. No miracle could cause a dog or cat to be in a place like this. Such a miracle would not be allowed. Since it isn't a miracle, that means I'm being guided in that direction. Alright then, this might be some new idea to keep me entertained. If this is a new joke of Lambda's, I'll cover her whole body with honey using my tongue as a reward. And then I'll stick parasol chocolates into her eyes and tell her to never do it again. In the direction the noise had come from, it was not only dim, but shrouded in complete darkness. However, I could sense something in that darkness. Oh! There were two emerald green glints, probably cat eyes. The eyes of a black cat that blended well into the darkness.
あなたが呼んだの？それともあなたが使い？
When I looked at my feet, I saw red cat footprints leading towards those cat eyes. It was unsettling, as though it had run through a puddle of blood on its way there. After my eyes adjusted to the darkness, even with the lack of light, I was vaguely able to make out the red footprints ahead of me. They weren't actually glowing or anything, but they served perfectly well as a signpost leading me onwards. Patter, patter, patter. As though it was telling me to follow, the cat turned around and dashed off into the darkness. What is it? Something feels very strange. It's a feeling I haven't felt since I began calling myself the cruelest witch in the world. I can't quite remember what this feeling is. Fear? Still, for one as tired of boredom as me, it's surely more fun this way. I followed the bloody footprints of the cat, which would sometimes stop and look back at me, and walked on through the dark corridor, and headed forward, turned corners, and descended what appeared to be stairs from time to time. And then, though I couldn't really tell because of the darkness, it slipped through the crack of a door. I pushed the door open slowly, but it was dark on the inside, just like the corridor. However, the air and the slight change in the echoes made by the footsteps told me this was a room, not a corridor. The sounds of the cat's footprints, or the footsteps, were gone. However, the bloody footprints remained. On the other side of some sort of wooden screen, under what looked like a small spotlight, that same black cat was noisily gobbling down a bowl of pet food. I see. So this is a reward for bringing me here.
猫、お食事中悪いけれど、そろそろあんたの主人を呼んでちょうだい。
Is it Featherine, maybe? It's the only other witch I can think of other than Beato and Lambda and like all the other ones we've met.
それともまさか、あんたが私を呼んだ本人ってわけじゃないわ。
Then again, we also know how this game likes to introduce new characters, so I wouldn't be surprised if by chapter 6 we have a completely new witch who appears. Talking to it didn't cause it to turn around. Well, I guess it is an animal eating its food. If I kick it away, it will probably run off to its owner. When I did kick the cat, it sailed away like a stuffed animal, hit the wall and fell to the ground. Then it vanished as though it had melted into the darkness. What's with this cat? Is it just an illusion? When I looked at its food bowl, it was piled up with what appeared to be blood-drenched raw meat. It was as though someone had torn apart a living flesh on the spot and piled it into there.
なんなの？この趣味の悪い艦隊は。ケルトはどういうことをする？
It is Featherine! The instant I heard that voice, the hairs on the back of my neck stood on end. Then, the surrounding area finally brightened. However, Bernkastel had already guessed where this was before it grew bright.
"そなたであろうが、その猫は肉を食らい、選ぶ道もあることを学んだ猫よ。久しぶりであるな。あんたが教えなきゃ気づかずに済んだ道よ。肉の味を教えた化け物。
Oh, creepy.
生き返ったのね。フェザリーヌ・アウアウローラ。アウグストゥス・アウローラであると、そなたには何度教えても覚えぬな。よい、それもまた懐かしい。噂は聞き及んでいるぞ。奇跡の魔女ベルンカステルを名乗り、あまり褒められぬかけら遊びをして回っているとな。あんたの真似をしてるだけよ。到底及びやしないけれど、もし私の噂がよからぬものならば、あんたはそれに100をかけるべきだわ。
Bernkastel sat unreservedly in an antique chair, as though she was already familiar with the place.
何を怯えているか。私はこれまでで 最も長く過ごした巫女との再会を喜んでいるだけであろうが。
Interesting. Okay, so she was her Miko.
使いの猫がそんなにも気に入らなかったか。
By all appearances, Bernkastel's manner seemed relaxed. However, Featherine admonished her, telling her not to be afraid. And judging by the expression that rose to Bern's face, Featherine had been right on the mark. You know it's bad when she's disturbed or, like, nervous.
私に対する当てつけにも程があるわ。血の足跡を残しながら歩き、血まみれの肉を頬張る猫なんてね。露骨。
怯えるな。よく見よ。血まみれの肉を頬張る猫などどこにいる。そなたを迎えに行った褒美にビスケットの皿を与えただけではないか。
Despite there being no wind, the bowl at her feet seemed to blow away as though it was made of soot. In its place lay a lovely and perfectly normal cat dish, with a pile of small biscuits on top of it. Bernkastel didn't even hide her displeased grimace. Featherine shrugged and muttered, "You haven't changed, child of man," as she rocked her rocking chair.
相変わらず不愉快なやつだわ。でもね、今は愉快よ。あんたの真似をしてるとね、本当に退屈しないわ。
なじれ、好きに。かつて別れに際し、そなたに許した置き土産だ。
口の悪い巫女は退屈しないから好き。なんだっけ？バカバカしい。あんたを喜ばせるくらいなら、口をつぐむわ。それで？何の用？
ベアトリーチェのゲームがバトラの勝利によって終わったそうだな。感激していた。なかなか面白かった。
私が無様な役で、それは面白かったでしょうよ。
とんでもない。なかなか光栄であった。ベアトもそなたに感謝しているだろ
う。それで、ベアトのゲームのかけらを朗読しろって言うならお断りよ。私はもうあんたの巫女じゃない。
私はベアトのゲームをすべて感激してきた。ラムダデルタのゲームもバトラのゲームも興味深く感激させてもらった。一応すべての謎に私なりの答えを用意できたつもりでいる。
But of course she won't share them with us, will she?
犯人、動機、個別のトリック。
So she knows all these things, but she won't tell us. We had figured out ourselves.
自分の謎は最後がギリギリわからぬが、私が実際に六軒島に行き、検証すればわかる程度のレベルまでの推理は持っている。
それで？
無論、真実は一つでない以上、私の推理も許される可能性の中の一つに過ぎる。
They're really hammering that home in this this chapter is about the whole thing about like many truths. There's no one truth.
しかし、それは可能性の範囲内であり、さまつな問題だ。
何よ、私とベアとのゲームの論争がしたいの？
違う。したいのは答え合わせだ。人の子よ。
Those words of Featherine's made Bernkastel straighten up. Her old master did not fail to notice that small reaction.
そなたも出演者として参照のように物語を盛り上げてきた。その過程で多くの真実も知るだろう。しかしベアトが巧みに隠してきたいくつかの謎についてはそなたも知らぬのではないか？
Is Featherine actually going to tell them? Is she actually going to reveal them?
なるほど。私にまた腹渡を食いちぎって引きずり出す役をやらせたいのね。
感激を終えればパンフレットを読み舞台裏を知るのは、そなた風に言うなら食後にたしなむ紅茶のようなものだ。それはたしなみだが欠かすことはできぬ。
生きてるうちはめでて遊んで、死んだら肉を食らってご機嫌満腹。あんたにとって猫は二度役に立つわけだわ。死ね。 化け物。
答え合わせがしたい。そなたも知りたいはずだ。ベアトの亡骸を葬ると思い、その葬儀をそなたに執り行ってほしいということだ。それならばどうか、人の子よ。
多少は私好みな頼み方になってきたわ。
When Featherine snapped her fingers, a thin spotlight shone on a table cluttered with books. There lay a folded version of the game board for Beato's game. The Witch of Theater-going spun her finger in a circle, and the game board opened up by itself, revealing the rows of black and white pieces that were packed away inside it.
ゲーム盤もコマもすべて揃っている。過去のゲームの寄付もすべて揃っている。
With a rustling sound, the books flipped through all their pages of their own accord, shut themselves, and flew to the side of the game board, where they waited. Inside them, all the movements of the pieces during previous games were recorded.
なるほど。足りないのはプレイヤーと解説者だけってわけ。
紅茶も足りぬな。梅干しも足りぬか。もちろん用意しよ
う。いいわ。それにからし大福もつけてくれたら手を打つわ。
交渉は成立だ。
条件が一つ。
ほう、それは何か。
朗読者は私よ。私、愛がないからいろいろとおかしな解釈をしてしまうかもしれない。でもどう読むか、どう抑揚をつけるかは朗読者の自由よ。
私は答え合わせがしたいだけだ。物語になど興味はない。そなたがどんな物語を紡ごうと全く興味がない。なるほど、ようやくそなたが何をしたいのか分かった。
飲むでしょ。
いいだろう。私は答えが知りたい。そなたは鬱憤が晴らしたい。交渉は成立だ。
When Featherine snapped her fingers once more, a large chair appeared, as though beckoning Bernkastel to sit there. The chair, its design horribly mismatched with the furnishings of this room, was a throne. Wait, I've seen this before. This is...
認めようぞ。座るがよい。ゲームマスターはそなただ。
Alright, are we going to go through the answers? Probably not, because there'd be a lot, I imagine.
本当にいいのね。
そなたの鬱憤が晴れるような好きな物語を紡げばいい。私には興味ないことだ。ただし、私からも条件を一つ。私の求める答え合わせをすべてせよ。隠し事も包み隠しもごまかしも一切なしだ。
任せなさい。腹渡引き裂いて中身をすべて引きずり出すのは私の最も得意とするところ。あんたの仕込みだもの。
紅茶を入れよう。魔法でなく私自らの手でな。主が巫女に茶を入れて信ぜようぞ。
かつてベアトは私に紅茶を飲むなら魔女とに限ると
This is an interesting version of this song. Alright, now it's skipping on ahead without me doing anything. Oh, at some point, the dish piled with biscuits had reverted to a mountain of torn apart meat and a splatter of red. Not just meat, even intestines. This is so weird. It's so weird. What in the world? Alright, okay. That was interesting. So I don't know what to take from that other than the fact that Bernkastel was Featherine's Miko, and Featherine seemed to torture her, because we knew that Bernkastel, she was tortured for a while. and she taught her how to be the monster that she is. I mean, Featherine is a witch. She's not to be fully trusted, but interesting to see that she was the one who trained Bernkastel. Oh, we have more.
駒の準備を始めるわ。投資番号で言うと第7のゲーム。
Alright, so she's going to be the game master of 7.
それはベアトにとってではないわね。
Bernkastel slowly picked up a black piece. It was a piece that represented Beatrice. It was sometimes a king, sometimes a queen. It could even be a knight. However, it was only if it got promoted. Until then, it was a trash piece, like a pawn. First came piece positioning. Even this early, the witch's game had already begun. Bernkastel took Beato's piece and slowly raised it high. Oh my god, I gotta talk so fast!
初手、配置、D8、ベアトリーチ。
The seagulls cried, none were left alive. Interesting that even though Battler is the territory lord, it looks like Bernkastel will be the reader for the next one. So no love in that game then, I guess. Or at least the way she's going to interpret it. Alright, so there we go. So we got some, of course we'll always finish it off with check out the characters list. See what's changed. I'm assuming it's going to be on like the witch side. Okay. And then we've got the elder Beatrice. Can we execute her? Nope. With the victory at the human side, she should have achieved victory as well, but she seemed unable to accept it. It appears she's less concerned with who actually wins and cares more about how brutal an end might be reached. Therefore, hostile towards Battler as he tries to end this peacefully, she attempts to use Erika to run. Okay, well that we already knew. Can't execute her either. What about Erika? She seemingly died at the end of this one, right? Yep, there we go. Oh, she's gone. She's straight up gone. So Beato's still around. Can't execute her. I guess we can execute all the people that actually died, so that would be... Oh, is this new? Fell from a pleasure boat and currently missing due to the Rokonjima explosion accident that occurred shortly after. Her own accident was lost to history. Her family argues she might have drifted to Rokonjima and gotten involved in the accident, but no evidence indicating her presence on the island has been found at the scene. Foragers who learned of her fall from the boat also often theorize she drifted onto Rokonjima and add her into the witch illusion. Okay, I don't know if that's ever been brought up before. I think those are... Cannon died, right? No, Cannon is still alive. Okay, so Cannon did not die in that game. In the Witch's game, he did. Interesting. Okay, so hopefully that's everything. We also have some tips here. Alright, spirit mirror kept in the shrine built on a rock in the waters near Rokonjima to suppress the evil spirits of Akuji Kijima. It is believed to possess a great power which holds these evil spirits at bay. The mirror is revered by fishermen around the Nijima area, and several times each year a small ceremony is conducted jointly by the Ushiramiya family and Nijima Fishery Cooperative. In the past, Kinzo ordered that it be cleaned on the change of the season. However, it is unknown whether or not he did this out of respect for the occult of the Eastern world. Set of dueling pistols. A set of demonic dueling pistols prepared by Zephyr and Furfuru. The number of shots loaded depends on the format of the duel. In most cases, each gun holds just a single round. The emotions of the duelist are loaded into them, and if the bullet grazes any part of the body, the concept of the target is denied without exception. In the past, duels were performed in the classic style with swords, but this took a great deal of time before an outcome was reached, which displeased certain impatient theater-going witches. For this reason, a dueling weapon that would always kill with a single shot was asked for and created. Of course, these weapons are not particularly popular among theater-going witches who are fans of drama. Okay, I don't know if I've read this one yet. The Warawara is the pronoun Beatrice used throughout episodes 1 through 4 to refer to herself. Historically, Warawara was a word used to refer to handmaids, chambermaids, and children, including errand boys and girls. The pronoun Warawara was derived from these meanings, was therefore a humble one used mostly by women. However, in the context of modern fiction, the use of Warawara is stereotypically associated with noble women from olden times, and the anachronism of this choice of pronoun can have the secondary effect of imparting an imperious air on a character's speech. In this sense, it's perfect fit for Beatrice, an important part of the role language that makes up her character. Okay, I already read the Miko thing. I may have already read the Warawara, but I read it again. Alright, and with that, I finally finished Chapter 6. Another great episode, just as expected of Battler. It ended with love. Everybody being reunited and in love, and the family is all happy for each other, and that's all well and good. But it seems like with Bernkastel being the game master of the reader of the next chapter, probably not going to be quite so nice. Also interesting in that it technically was suspended after the second Twilight, which is something never seen before, but it was just so sweet with the whole thing with Battler and Beato being reunited and coming together to take Erika down, and then being wed in the Golden Land. It was very cool to see, but I am excited to get into Chapter 7 and see how different that's going to be. So as always, you guys can expect me to release a discussion and theory video, hopefully within the next 2 weeks. If I'm really good, I'll get out next week, but it will probably be 2 weeks because it takes me time to go through, everything and write a script and all that stuff. So I hope you guys are looking forward to that. Thank you for watching through to this point. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will catch you in the next one. Until then, bye. Special shoutouts to my top tier patrons: Kaori Makoto, Revealing Storm, Jared Fan, Tequila Mockingbird, Izzy Ibo, Joel Ustman, Asborn Kennedy, Harry Gazif, Icognito, Locus Corollas, Wusing Chrysalis, and Lumi Arclight.